The use of 1900 boxes in hallways and closets is generally permissible, given certain conditions are met. The primary factor determining the acceptability of using 1900 boxes, or any electrical box for that matter, hinges on the environmental conditions of the installation location. Specifically, it boils down to whether the location is considered a dry location or a wet location. Hallways and closets are typically classified as dry locations. This means they are not subject to moisture, dampness, or corrosive substances. In dry locations, standard 1900 boxes are perfectly acceptable for use. However, it is crucial to understand the distinction between dry and wet locations, as the use of standard 1900 boxes in wet locations would violate electrical safety codes. A wet location is defined as an area subject to saturation with water or other liquids, such as bathrooms, some unfinished basements, or outdoor areas. In these locations, only electrical boxes specifically listed and labeled for wet locations are permitted. These boxes are designed to prevent water from entering and damaging the electrical connections within. Furthermore, it is important to consider the volume of the 1900 box and ensure that it is appropriately sized for the number and size of conductors being installed within it. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides specific guidelines for box fill calculations to ensure that the box is not overcrowded, which could lead to overheating or other electrical hazards. This calculation takes into account the number of conductors, device yokes, and internal cable clamps present within the box. Each of these components is assigned a specific volume allowance, which must be summed and compared to the total volume of the box. If the total volume allowance exceeds the box volume, a larger box must be used. When installing 1900 boxes, it's essential to use appropriate connectors and fittings to ensure a secure and code-compliant installation. These connectors are used to secure the electrical cables to the box and provide strain relief, preventing the conductors from being pulled out of their terminals. Different types of connectors are available for different types of cables, such as non-metallic sheath cable, armored cable, and conduit. Selecting the correct connector is crucial for maintaining the integrity of the electrical system. In addition to using appropriate connectors, it is also important to properly ground the 1900 box. Grounding provides a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or fuse and preventing electrical shock. The grounding conductor should be securely connected to the grounding terminal within the box and to the equipment grounding conductor of the circuit. Another important consideration is the mounting of the 1900 box. The box should be securely mounted to a structural member of the building, such as a stud or joist. This prevents the box from becoming loose or dislodged, which could damage the electrical connections or create a safety hazard. Different types of mounting brackets are available for different mounting applications. When working with electrical systems, it is always important to follow safe work practices. This includes energizing the circuit before working on it, using appropriate personal protective equipment such as gloves and safety glasses, and following all applicable electrical codes and regulations. If you are not comfortable working with electrical systems, it is best to hire a qualified electrician to do the work for you. It's also important to understand the specific requirements of your local electrical code, as these may vary slightly from the NEC. Your local electrical inspector can provide guidance on the specific requirements that apply to your area. If you're using a metal 1900 box, ensure it's properly grounded. Grounding creates a safe path for electricity in case of a fault, preventing electrical shocks. The grounding wire should be connected securely to the box using a grounding screw or clip. Remember to consult your local electrical codes for specific grounding requirements. When it comes to box fill, NEC section 314.16 is your guide. It specifies the maximum number of conductors, devices, and fittings allowed in a box based on its size. Overfilling a box can lead to overheating and potentially dangerous situations. Always calculate the box fill before installing any wiring. Different wiring methods require different types of connectors. For example, non-metallic sheath cable, often referred to as Romex, requires connectors that clamp the cable securely to the box, preventing it from being pulled out. Metal-clad cable and conduit require different types of connectors to ensure a proper and safe connection. Using the wrong type of connector can compromise the integrity of the electrical system. If you're installing a 1900 box in a location where it might be exposed to physical damage, consider using a box made of a more durable material, such as metal. Also, think about adding a protective cover to prevent accidental impacts or damage. In locations where aesthetics are important, you can choose from a variety of covers and plates that match the surrounding decor. These covers not only protect the wiring but also provide a finished look. Always inspect the 1900 boxes for any cracks or damage before installation. Damaged boxes can compromise the safety of the electrical system. Replace any damaged boxes immediately. When making wire connections inside the 1900 box, ensure that the wires are properly stripped and twisted together before applying wire connectors. Loose or poorly made connections can lead to arcing and overheating. Use high-quality wire connectors that are listed for the size and type of wire being used. If you're installing multiple circuits in a single 1900 box, be sure to clearly label each circuit to avoid confusion during future maintenance or troubleshooting. Proper labeling can save time and prevent mistakes. When running cables to the 1900 box, leave enough slack to allow for easy connections and future maintenance. Avoid pulling the cables too tightly, as this can damage the conductors. When cutting wires to length, be sure to cut them neatly and avoid nicking the insulation. Nicks in the insulation can create weak spots that can lead to shorts or ground faults. After completing the wiring, double-check all connections to ensure that they are tight and secure. A loose connection can cause a variety of problems, including flickering lights, overheating, and even fires. Use a torque screwdriver to tighten the screws and the wire connectors to the manufacturer's specified torque. When installing devices, such as switches and receptacles, in the 1900 box, be sure to use the correct mounting screws. Using the wrong size or type of screw can damage the device or the box. If you're installing a dimmer switch in a 1900 box, be sure to check the manufacturer specifications to ensure that it is compatible with the type of lighting being controlled. Some dimmer switches are not compatible with certain types of light bulbs. When installing a GFCI receptacle in the 1900 box, be sure to test it after installation to ensure that it is working properly. A GFCI receptacle can protect against electrical shock by detecting ground faults and interrupting the circuit. If you're installing a smart switch or receptacle in the 1900 box, be sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions for connecting it to your home network. Smart devices can add convenience and energy savings to your home. When working with electrical systems, always remember to prioritize safety. If you're not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician to do the work for you. They have the knowledge, skills, and tools to do the job safely and correctly. If you're unsure about any aspect of electrical work, consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector. They can provide guidance and ensure that your electrical system is safe and code compliant. Remember to always keep your electrical system in good repair. Regularly inspect your wiring, devices, and fixtures for any signs of damage or wear. Replace any damaged components immediately. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that your electrical system is safe, reliable, and code compliant. Remember, safety is always the top priority when working with electricity. When selecting a 1900 box, consider the type of wiring you'll be using. Different types of wiring require different types of connectors, and the box should be compatible with the connectors you need. For example, if you're using non-metallic sheet cable, you'll need a box with cable clamps designed for that type of cable. If you're using metal conduit, you'll need a box with threaded openings for conduit fittings. The depth of the 1900 box is also an important consideration. Deeper boxes provide more room for wiring and devices, which can be helpful if you're working with a lot of wires or bulky devices. However, deeper boxes may not fit in all locations, so be sure to check the available space before selecting a box. Some 1900 boxes have knockouts on the sides, top, bottom, and back. Knockouts are removable sections of the box that allow you to run wires in and out of the box. Choose a box with knockouts in the locations you need. Some 1900 boxes are designed for surface mounting, while others are designed for flush mounting. Surface-mounted boxes are mounted directly on the wall or ceiling, while flush-mounted boxes are recessed into the wall or ceiling. Choose the type of box that is appropriate for your application. The material of the 1900 box is also a consideration. Metal boxes are more durable and can provide better grounding, but they can also be more expensive and more difficult to work with. Plastic boxes are less expensive and easier to work with, but they may not be as durable. When installing a 1900 box in a damp or wet location, be sure to use a box that is rated for that type of environment. These boxes are designed to prevent water from entering and damaging the electrical connections. Consider using weatherproof covers and gaskets to further protect the electrical connections from moisture. When making connections inside the 1900 box, use wire connectors that are appropriate for the size and type of wire being used. Be sure to tighten the wire connector securely to ensure a good electrical connection. If you're using stranded wire, be sure to twist the strands together tightly before inserting them into the wire connector. This will help to prevent the strands from fraying and creating a poor connection. When installing devices in the 1900 box, be sure to use the correct mounting screws. Using the wrong size or type of screw can damage the device or the box. Be careful not to over-tighten the mounting screws, as this can also damage the device or the box. When running wires to the 1900 box, be sure to protect them from damage. Use cable staples or other supports to secure the wires to the wall or ceiling. Avoid running wires across sharp edges or where they could be easily damaged. When working with electrical systems, always be aware of the potential hazards. Electricity can be dangerous, so it's important to take precautions to protect yourself from shock and other injuries. If you're not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician to do the work for you. They have the knowledge, skills, and tools to do the job safely and correctly. Always consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector if you have any questions about electrical safety or code compliance. They can provide guidance and ensure that your electrical system is safe and up to code. Before starting any electrical work, be sure to turn off the power to the circuit you'll be working on. Use a voltage tester to verify that the power is off before touching any wires or devices. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves, to protect yourself from injury. Work in a well-lit area so you can see what you're doing. Avoid working in wet or damp conditions. Keep your work area clean and organized. Use the right tools for the job. Do not use damaged or worn-out tools. Inspect your tools before each use. Do not work alone. Have someone nearby who can help you in case of an emergency. Know the location of the nearest electrical panel and how to turn off the power in case of an emergency. If you see something that looks unsafe, stop work and consult with a qualified electrician. Report any electrical hazards to the appropriate authorities. By following these safety guidelines, you can help to prevent electrical accidents and injuries. Remember, safety is always the top priority when working with electricity.